Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. Today I'm going to go ahead and do a recap of the $100,000 Dreamhack Hanover tournament called the Grand Melee, hosted by Order of the Sheep, of course. Was a really nice tournament overall. I just want to say first of all that I'm sorry for the late recap. I usually do it right after the tournament. Now I'm like a week afterwards, but I still figured it's better late than never. I'll go ahead and do a quick recap and run through my matchups and talk about some of the games that were played. Obviously spoilers, so if you haven't watched anything and you don't want to get spoiled, look away right now. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and hop right into it. So the tournament was played on 9 villager starts. It had somewhat similar settings to Warlords, but it was actually quite different with some of the details. From a viewer perspective, you might not have paid attention to it, but from a player perspective, it was really evident what was different and how to adapt to it. Let's take a look at the placements first and foremost, and then I'll talk about my tournament run. So obviously I got first place, and that's why I'm very pumped to do this review. It's been a while since I've won an S tier tournament. I actually haven't won one for AoE2 in 2022. I won an AoE4 S tier, but not an AoE2 one, so just before the year ended, I actually managed to get one, which is huge for me, so I'm very happy and proud about that. My teammate Leary right behind me as well, second place. We had a banger finals, we'll talk about that. Then we had Viper and Tato third, fourth. They had a nice third place match actually. Then we have Velez, Jordan, ACM, and Doubt. It might look like these guys are the quote-unquote losers of the tournament, but in reality, they are 5th to 8th. These are quarter finalists. The qualifiers for this tournament were very intense and very tough. So everyone who's actually here at the event is, in my opinion, a winner. And even losing round 1, it's still a very prestigious result, in my opinion. We'll talk about some of the matchups as well, because it is very interesting. So going down to the matchups here, I'll talk about each one, set for a little bit, and then I'll talk about mine in depth. So Tato Velez, I didn't watch this one in full, but it was rather close. I saw the last game. I think they both played really well, but Tato just edged out Velez. Then we have Viper ACCM. I think ACM actually got himself into a really good position in multiple games, but he just failed on the execution and his army control wasn't the best, so he lost a couple games to that. But he did win one with Bengalis on Ring of Reeds, which is quite a nice showing, honestly. Well played to Viper, he moves on. Then we have Leary Doubt. Probably one of the best series in the quarterfinals. It went to the last game, and the last game was probably one of the best late games I've ever seen from Leary. He played extremely well against Doubt. Doubt did a great job in that last game of stabilizing and getting to 4TC boom to catch up with the Mayans. It was a fantastic game 5 there. I might review it eventually on the Legendary Game series that I have on YouTube. Okay, now going to my series versus Jordan. This one was interesting. So a couple things I need to talk about here. There was a lot of noise during the event from like other stations, from our crowd as well, and from the commentators. So we had to use noise canceling headphones. The problem is when you use noise canceling headphones with in-ears inside, you don't hear as much of the game as you're normally hearing with like your headset. So I had a lot of trouble hearing conversions and hearing certain things in this game. I'll tell you what I did to get around that. But that being said, it was a really nice series with Jordan. Like game 1 was for me on what's that sheep map called? Sheepfold, and it was pretty straightforward. After that, he took 2 games from me. One on Land Madness, which I can't remember the last time I lost to Land Madness in a tournament. So actually, no, I do. It was versus Viper and Warlords. Damn, I suck on that map. I always lose. Okay, so I lost Land Madness, which is really depressing, and I lost Ring of Reeds. Ring of Reeds, he kind of completely outplayed me strategy-wise, but I still managed to kind of push back with the Flemish Revolution. I think if I planned out the Flemish Revolution a little bit better, it could have actually won me the game. But since I was improvising, I was missing a lot of upgrades, didn't have the trebs ready, so I wasn't able to push back. So incredible game from Jordan there with the fast tempo on Turks after the castle drop, of course. And then in the last game, it came down to a goal rush, and I was able to win it with Portuguese. He had Aztecs left, but he decided not to use them. Portuguese are incredibly strong right now, so it's no surprise that they were quite the force. Let me zoom in here, by the way. I didn't realize how hard it is for you guys to see. All right, so that was the quarterfinals. Moving on now into the semifinals, we had myself versus Tato. I'll talk about that first. So we had probably the best series of the tournament for me in terms of like clean execution. Felt pretty good throughout the series, but I have to say I feel like Tato tried to do too much this series. He tried to surprise me with too many different things, and I think that when you do too much, sometimes it ends up like backfiring. Sometimes keeping it simple is the right thing to do. And so, for example, game 1, we start off on Sheepfold, and he's got Incas versus my Franks. He tries to limit a boar, and it fails. And right away, the game is just really hard for him right there. He continues to pressure me with men-at-arms, but I see most of it coming with my Scout, and I'm able to win the game. Going on to game 2, he goes on Northern Isles, his home map, and he picks Goths on islands, or Northern Isles. And right away, I'm thinking, something has to be up, so I'm just scouting a lot. I'm not autopiloting. I really want to see what he's going to go for. And I saw him landing with a villager, trying to cheese, maybe makes a barracks later. It wasn't a terrible idea. I think it has some merit to it, but I think the big problem to the strategy is that I basically know it's coming when he picks Goths, and that's it kind of ruins the strategy in a way, because Goths is such a bad pick on islands. If he picks it, I know he's going to cheese and land me, so I just have to keep an eye out on that, and like I said, it kind of ruins the strategy just because of how predictable it ends up being. Going into game 3, it was one of the games I should have lost. It was Fish and Fish. He had Dravidians, which is the best civ left on the map, and I had Burmese. Told you guys Burmese are underrated. I managed to win that game. I get a little lucky in the early game to survive. Managed to win in the end. And then the last game, I have Poles on Gold Rush. It's pretty much unlosable. He's got Hindustani. He tries something, but Poles are just way too broken when you play safe. So yeah, GG there. Really amazing result for me. Very happy about it, and I secured the grand finals. But before we talk about that, we're going to talk about Viper Leary in the semis. Probably one of the best sets of the tournament, honestly. I think this one and the finals were the two best sets of the tournament. This one is absolutely insane. I was on the edge of my seat in the last game. Leary was down 3-2 at some point, managed to pull back by winning the last 2 games. So, it was just a great series from both these players. And, on any given day, one of them gets to the finals. But I was really happy for Leary. We practiced a lot. So for me, the tournament was won when Leary beat Viper, because that means that we have both of us, the only 2 teammates that we have basically in this event, make it to the finals. Out of 4 GL, Velez, and ACCM, and 2 AMs, the 2 AMs make it to the finals, which is absolutely massive. So huge result for me. And for me, like I said, the tournament was already won here. Even if I lost the finals, I wouldn't have been too disappointed. I'm just really happy that we were able to manage to get first and second on the tournament, which is huge for me. But going into the finals here, something I didn't really get a chance to talk to because they kind of cut me off mid-interview. Too early in the interview, I might add. So yeah, in this one, I think that it's not worth going through every single game in the finals, because I simply don't remember. But what I will talk is the last 3 games. I was down 4-2. What's funny is that the last game I lost was, I believe, the Gold Rush one. Was that the last one I lost? I'm not sure at this point, but it was a game I should have won. That was the one game I threw was the Gold Rush one, when I had Saracens versus Mongols. He played a good strategy, but then when I wanted to engage, I took 3 Maginot shots on my camels, and if I just won that engagement, I win the game. So yeah, absolutely brutal engagement there for me. Well played to Leary to find the win out of nothing there with the Maginots. And yeah, I lost the game that I think I should have won. Every other game in the series, I got outplayed. It's not like I threw anything. He just played better. That particular game was the only one I felt like I actually could have played better, and I would have won the game. I threw it, so to speak. But yeah, anyways, going on into the next game after that, the last 3 games, I'm down 4-2. It's Ring of Reeds. Ring of Reeds is a game or a map that I couldn't figure out through the tournament, and me and Leary came to the conclusion that we just want to get the middle. If we control the middle, then we can go for a forward castle, and that's the best way to play that map. But since we both knew that going into it, we both wanted to fight for the middle, and that's what ensued. A massive villager fight. Probably the craziest moment of my entire competitive career. It's match point for him. If I lose him out and I have to have diamond hands on the Vil fights, I managed to pull back 8 or 10 villagers, I think, that had 2 or 4 HP, so we're 1 or 2 hits away from dying, which is an absolutely crazy stat. But the craziest part about that is that even though I was having the better micro of the Vil War, I still wasn't far ahead because I had a lot of idle TC. So he's got better macro, I had better micro, and in the end we had a close game. So Ring of Reeds ended up going to me. One of the craziest games. We'll definitely review it on the Legendary Game series. And so that gets me to 3-4. Then I play Graveyard's game, Huns versus Franks. I was able to win with Huns versus Franks, which is a pretty solid result as well. So it's 4-4, and then the last game is Northern Isles. And I actually managed to win using the same strategy, similar strategy, to what Tata used against me in Red Bull. So I learned from my losses, and that's a really good thing as a player, to grow from the losses. So I turned a disappointment, a couple months ago, into a very nice achievement this time around by winning that final game with Koreans versus Italians on Northern Isles. So I actually had to win the last 2 games with the slightly weaker civ. So it was a really nice achievement. I'm very happy and proud of it. But I will say I think Leary played incredible as well. And similar to the semifinals to him and Viper, on any given day, if one thing went differently, Leary wins this one, maybe even quite easily 5-2 or something like that. If he just did a couple things differently, if I just messed up a couple things, it ends up being a 5-2. So crazy result, crazy tournament overall. I'm not going to talk too much about the third place match because I actually didn't watch anything from this match. So yeah, congrats to Viper. He won the third place match, but I can't really comment on it. I want to talk quickly before I end off the video about how I felt about the event. I thought the event was actually run really smoothly for the players. There was only one thing I didn't like, which is them asking us to stay in like the player lounge, which was not really a good idea. It would be better if we just sat in the audience with the fans. But I will say that the event overall was very smoothly run for the players. As far as how it was run for the viewers, I think that there's a lot of wasted potential. We could have done a lot more things to engage the viewers, both the live audience and the audience at home, by just simply showing them a little bit more of the area, doing a little bit more Q&A with the crowd, involving the crowd a lot more. That kind of stuff could have made the event a lot more lively, a lot more, I guess, interesting, you know, making use of the LAN event and such. But other than that, I thought the event was quite solid. Viewer numbers were, I guess, pretty good, you know, considering the fact that it's a brand new channel, first of its kind. So I personally think it was, you know, a relative success, but it didn't break any records or anything like that. So yeah, I think overall, fantastic tournament. Very happy with my result, very happy with how it went. I had a blast, and yeah, and I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys did as well. Let me know your thoughts on the tournament, what you enjoyed and what you didn't like, for feedback for future events. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.